Hey guys, it's Miss Lacey, and welcome to your sketchbook project. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have finally reached the moment you've been waiting for. It is time to complete our covers. So you're gonna have to do this video twice. So one for the first cover and then again for the second cover. But before we get started, I wanna go over some rules. Okay, so here are your rules for today. Number one, you have to ask questions. You are gonna be working independently, and I will not know that there is something wrong unless you tell me that there's something wrong. So please be sure to ask questions, especially if you are confused. Number two, in the video, you will see a press pause sign come up. That is when you stop and do what you just watched and then come back to it. Okay, so this is what the sign looks like. It says press pause. You're gonna stop the video, do what I just taught you to do, and then come back when you're done. Number three, you will not work ahead. When you work ahead, issues come up, and there may be something that changes that you don't know about, so do not work ahead. Number four, follow directions step by step. If you do not follow directions, this is a big deal. And number five, avoid mistakes. You avoid mistakes by following directions step by step and not working ahead. Make sure you pause when you see this press pause sign, and then make sure you ask questions. Without further ado, let's get started. Today you are going to need the following items. You will need a pair of scissors, a pencil. I will be using a pen or a marker so you guys can see my markings better. A ruler. Your ruler should not be thicker than this. This is about 1 1/4 inches. You will need your 2 cereal box covers. So I actually already completed one of my covers for you guys, but you will have yours pre-cut out. And then you will have your 2 brown paper bag squares, okay? So first things first, go ahead and grab all the materials that you need and come back when you're ready. Okay, so you're just going to be working with one of your covers. So go ahead and you can put everything aside besides your pencil and your ruler and your cover at this moment. Okay, so first thing I want you to do is look at your brown paper bag cutout, your square, your 11-inch square. So I used one that was not from school. Mine was an HEB bag and it had markings on it. So if this was the case for you guys, what you want to do is work on the side that has the markings. So for instance, this one, I would work over on this side because I want the good side to be this. Okay. So the first thing I want you guys to do is to draw an arrow pointing away from you. Okay, so just a very simple arrow. All of these markings you make on this page will be covered up, so don't worry about it, but please put your arrow on there now. Okay, so now the next part. Your ruler that you're going to be using, it does not need to have any special markings on it. What we're looking for is a ruler with a nice straight edge. That's our goal. We are going to be using this ruler like a unit of measurement. So, when you guys use your rulers, there's a certain way that you need to hold it. So you need to figure out what your dominant hand is and your non-dominant hand. Your dominant hand is going to be holding your drawing utensil, and your non-dominant hand will be holding the ruler. Here's what you do not do. When you line your ruler up, you do not hold your ruler at one end, because what happens when you draw, what will happen is it moves up like so, and then your line is going to be crooked. So we're trying to avoid this. The proper way to hold your ruler is once you line it up, you're going to put it in the center of the ruler and firmly push down. Notice how my hands are not going to be crossing over one another. I'm not going to be holding it like this and then crossing my arms over here and drawing this way. That's bad etiquette. So you want to make sure that your paper is facing the right direction. So if you are left-handed, I am right-handed. So left-handed people, you're going to turn your arrow so it's kind of facing the right. And then when you line the ruler up, you will hold it with your right hand and draw this way. Okay? All right, so then the next thing, line this ruler up to the very edge of the paper. You should still be able to see the paper though, okay? If I move it, see how you guys can see it? So once again, move it right to the very edge where you can see the paper. Place your hand in the center, your two fingers. Make sure your fingers aren't at the edge of the ruler either, because this will cause what I call thumb bumps or bumps in your line, so we don't want that. So again, in the center, firmly press down, and then you can draw your line. So that's what we're looking for right now, is a line at the very top edge where your arrow is pointing. Go ahead and do this. Okay, now what you're going to do is another line. So we're going to be working on this side of the paper. So your arrow is facing away from you, it's going to be on the left side. We're going to do the same thing we just did, taking your ruler, lining it up on the edge where you can still see the paper, holding it firmly in the middle, and then drawing your line. Okay, so at this point, you should have two lines on your paper, one at the top and one on the left. Please do this now. All right, so your next step for this project will be to take your book board, okay? I'm gonna turn it upside down so it's not as much of a distraction. And you're gonna match it up with the two lines and over here in the corner. Okay. So once you get that in place, you're gonna firmly hold it down with your non-dominant hand, and you are going to now trace around your book board. I want you to do this a couple times. Especially for using pencil, there should be a nice thick line of graphite on there. This is very important because we need to know exactly where our book board goes. So your paper should look like mine. Go ahead and do this now. Once you have your book board completed or traced, you are then going to draw a line in the corner like this, and then you will fill it in. You are going to do this to every single corner. We will eventually have a bunch of markings on this paper, and these shaded in corners allow you to know exactly where to glue down your book board. So go ahead and do this now. Now that we have our book board corners filled in, the next step is we need to make a line coming off this edge of the book board. So you're going to take your ruler and you're going to place it inside of the book board tracing. Okay, so imagine if your book board was right here, okay, and you put your ruler up at the very edge of it right like this. Okay, it should line up with the edge of the book board that you traced. So line that up, and then once you're done, you can continue the line from the edge of the paper at the top all the way down to the edge of the paper at the bottom. Please do this now. Now we need to make one more line on this side of the paper. So instead of being on the inside of where our bookboard is, we are going to slide it to the outside of our bookboard. Okay, so now it's lined up on the outside edge of the bookboard tracing. So once you have it in place, go ahead and hold the ruler firmly, and you are going to draw the line. Before you move the ruler, I want you to put your pencil on that line and move the ruler away. And then you are going to make a circle right there on that line. Go ahead and do this now. The reason why we draw this circle is because this is a cut line. If you are not 200% certain that this is the right line and you cut off the wrong one, you are going to completely mess up and have to start over. So at this time, if you have never had Miss Lacey before, or if you have any doubt that this is the right line, you need to show me now. Once you are completely certain that this is the correct line, you will cut the line off that has the circle on it. Again, do not cut this line unless you're certain. It is very easy to mess this part up, and you don't want to have to start all over again. Go ahead and do this now. We have one more line to create, and this is at the bottom here. We need to continue this line out. So I'm going to turn my paper so it's easier for me to draw my line. I'm going to place the ruler at the bottom side of the bookboard where I traced it. I'm going to take my marker, and I'm going to extend this line out from edge to edge of the paper, like so. Please do this now. The next part of this project is very, very important because you want to have nice corners on your bookboard. Our goal is for your bookboard to look like this on the inside. So this is the outside and this is the inside. Notice how my corners are completely covered and protected where they're folded over. This is the goal. If you do not follow the steps properly, you are going to have exposed corners, and that will make the covers of your sketchbook just not look nice. So let's make sure we do it right. What I want you guys to do is watch me do every single corner and watch until I put the press pause sign up. So I want you guys to pretend that between this corner here and the corner of our bookboard tracing, there was an invisible line. Okay, you do not need to do this unless you want to. Okay, so there's my invisible line that you can see. I need to create a dot. Okay, I'm creating this dot a little bit away from the corner that I shaded in. Okay, so I'm going to put it about right here. Okay. You don't want it to be too far away, but you don't really want it to be any closer than this. So if you think about the distance of the tip of your pencil, that is a great measurement to use. So again, I'm going to show you over here. You're going to make a dot. Imagine you have that invisible line. It's coming right off the corner, just a short distance away from that corner that you have shaded in. And again, this is a dot. This is not a circle. It does not need to be huge. This is the tip of my marker. Okay, it's just a little bit bigger than that. So I'm going to do it 2 more times before you do it yourself. So again, this one's a little bit different. I am going to put a dot, okay, short distance away from the corner. Last time, imagine my corner extends out. I'm going to create my dot. At this time, please complete all 4 corners. Okay. Now that you have your dots completed, and if you're confused, you should show Miss Lacey and ask questions. This next part is crucial to make sure that our covers the corners of our covers are covered and not exposed. So you're going to take your ruler, and our goal is to draw a line that crosses through the dot that we made. And we want to create 2 equilateral triangles. You see the triangle right here? Do you see the triangle right here? Do you see how they're the exact same size? That's what we're looking for. So in order to draw this line directly through the dot, you're not going to cover the dot up because you don't know where it's at underneath here. So you want to have it just at the bottom of your dot. Make sure your triangles are even, and then you will draw your line through the dot. Okay, see how it almost disappeared? That's your goal. Now, let's talk about this again. I'm going to show you 3 times, and then you're going to do it on your own. Is this correct? No, this is not correct. This is not correct because these triangles are totally different sizes. So if you did this, you could possibly have corners that are exposed. What about this? No. This is not correct. What about this? This is wrong again. Even though these triangles are equal, you're not going through the dot. That's our goal. You're drawing a line through the dot and having 2 equal triangles. So this is what you need to do. Line it up at the bottom of the dot. Make sure you have 2 equal triangles. And then you will draw your line through it. Okay. So, due to the size of the paper that we cut out, the bottom half is a little bit smaller than the sides, okay? So when you do this portion here, what you are looking for is still 2 equilateral triangles, which means that 2 of the sides are the same, and there is a 90-degree edge here, okay? So this is not what I'm looking for, because this edge here is larger than that edge, okay? So I'm looking for 2 equilateral triangles here and here. This one will be smaller, okay? I'm gonna line my dot up and draw my line through. Okay. Last time. Line up your ruler. Make sure that these are equal triangles, and then draw your line through the bottom. Okay. At this time, you're going to complete your 4 corners, and please do this now. Your paper should look like my paper. Okay, now that you have your 4 corners traced, okay, this is a very important part to not mess up on. because we are going to cut these corners off. So if you are not completely certain that this is correct, you need to show Miss Lacey now. Okay, so go ahead and do that and come back when you're ready. Once you have approval from Miss Lacey, you will then cut off the corners on the lines that you just created. Okay, go ahead and do this now. So if you take your book board and line it up on your paper, you will notice that there is a gap in between each corner that you have created. If your book board is over the corner like this, you did something wrong, okay? This is what it should look like. We are going to be gluing the printed side down against the paper, okay? So watch me first before you do anything. You're going to take your glue stick, okay? You're going to go over the edge of the border, the tracing that you created, and you're going to completely fill in the inside of where your board is. If you do not do this, you're going to have big bubbles and it's not going to look nice and flat. Okay, so then you're going to line your book board up to those corners. You will stand up. You're going to apply pressure to the board, and so the paper and the board adhere nice. Okay, you're going to keep applying pressure and give it a chance to dry. You may do this now. Okay. Before we glue these flaps down, we're going to number them. There's a specific order that I want you to fold them in, and that's why we do this. So you're going to put a 1 at the top, 2 at the bottom, and a 3 and 4 on the left and right. Please do this now. Before you glue these tabs, we are going to pre-fold them so the paper has a memory of where it's supposed to be. What you're not going to do is just take this and just fold it over, okay? What will happen is it will create a gap in between the book board and the paper. We're trying to avoid that. Okay, so you're going to hold on to the flap. You're going to hold down to the book board, but you're going to pull it away and then wrap it around the book board. Okay, so I'm pulling, see the tension in my hand, and I'm going to pull it around the edge of the board, okay? Okay, so once I get it creased, I will then push down on it to make sure it's nice and sharp, okay? You're gonna do this to all 4 edges. So once you fold it, you can push it back out, but remember to grab the flap, pull it away from the board, and then wrap it around. Go ahead and do this now. Okay, now that you have everything folded, okay, now we're going to do the glue. So please watch before you do anything. You're going to completely glue the entire flap. Okay, try not to get glue on my tables, please. Grab the flap, pull it away like we did when we were folding it, and pull it around. Okay, you're then going to take your fingers and you're going to press the flap down. Okay, so if you took your finger and pressed against the top edge here, it should not move. If part of the paper bends like this, then you did something wrong, okay? So once you glue flap 1, okay, it may take a minute of pressing it down, you're then going to do flap 2. Do not do 3 and 4 yet. You may do this on your own. Now, once you have flaps 1 and 2 done, there's one more step before we do 3 and 4. It's really easy. We are going to use our ruler, this part of our ruler, okay, the very edge right here. You're going to stand it up, and then you're just going to press and kind of wiggle the ruler back, okay? So what you're doing is you're creating a crease right on the edge of your bookboard, and you're going to do this to all 4 corners. This is ensuring that our corners are nice and sharp when we fold this over. And I've seen kids skip this and their corners don't look very good and they say, "Miss Lacey, what happened?" That's what happened. They didn't follow directions. So go ahead and do this on your own. Now finally, we're going to glue flaps 3 and 4. It really doesn't matter which one you do first. Just make sure you do both of them. Cover the whole flap, pull away from the board, and wrap it around. And make sure you firmly hold it in place. Give it a chance to dry. And then glue the other flap. Away and around. So I did not have. Go ahead and do this now. Alright guys, so that concludes making your cover. So I hope that it turned out well. If you did anything wrong, you would see that your corners here are exposed. You would see the bookboard go all the way to the corner, and then you might see the corner down here exposed as well. So if you messed up, please try to fix your mistakes. If you've gone too far past that, sorry. When you guys are completely finished, what I would like you to do is to place your cover on a flat surface. Find a big textbook, and then you're going to place it on top of your book cover and give it a chance to completely dry, nice and flat. If you guys have any questions, as always, please let me know, and I hope you have a great day.